course, I must thank DC Professor Nilakantha in absence here. I'm very sorry that scientists are in this concern. We are very happy to share that I with one of my good students. You are a student of mine. This is my doing. I'm very glad that this was the responsibility of this university right now. Rare happiness for me that Honorable Head of the Department of Philosophy, the University, Dr. Samiti, and my able teacher, Dr. Bhubaneswar, and my colleague and friend, Dr. Das, and Dr. Sarotara, and all those brilliant teachers of philosophy from Odisha, and above all, students of philosophy department of Utkal University. Friends, I have been introduced too much by the head of the department of philosophy. I am speaking no doubt I am in charge of the General Secretary of the Smruti Committee. But what I always feel, I am decided that I am the legal heir of Pandit Nilakantha. So I have the right to attend any function related to Pandit Nilakantha. But friends, I warn you will be disappointed that comparable to E12, this great personality, I would say he had a past all imaginable. If I have inherited 0.01% of that wealth, I would have been a different person altogether. Anyway, so coming to he says that if we will imagine how were Vasishtha and Vishwamitra in those days, the picture will come to your mind. Really, because there are so many versatile things and multifaceted personality. I think I have asked my friend to circulate some booklets to you before something. So, he had many achievements to his brain. If you see each paradoxical academic area, you will be surprised. It is intermediate, but intermediate, he had philosophy and Sanskrit as the subjects for intermediate class. For degree, he had chemistry and philosophy. So you see, diametrically opposite subjects. Chemistry and philosophy that I may tell you here. What I feel after reading this literature and everything, I could know that how he was so logical in his explanations, how he was so logical in his thought, because he had a scientific bent of mind. Behind all anything he had explored, that is why he could reach a logical conclusion. And he was the first Korean to obtain an MA in philosophy degree from Calcutta University. And in the same Calcutta University, he was appointed as a professor of comparative philology by invited to meet you by none other than his close friend, our Pandit Kumar here, to address all Asiatic Education Conference. There he delivered a talk on an ideal outlook of education. So from this, you could imagine I told you, the different facets of his achievements. Well, coming to, I cite some examples to you to convince you how rational one is, how logical one is. Actually, there is a sloka in the 10th mandala of Rigveda. That is, Jataru Lavate Sindhu Pare Apursa. So, this sloka, you got to know the fruits of philosophy, you got to be very. So, anyway, I got to reiterate. You got to know from this Sayanacharya, he was a man of 14th century. He was from the court of Vijayanagara. And Sayanacharya, he is credited as the first translator of Veda into Sanskrit. Because the language of Veda was not comprehensible, it was beyond the reach of common man. So Sayana translated Veda into Sanskrit in 14th century. So he explains this line as Jantaru Lavate Sindhupare Apursa. Science says that the wood which floats in the ocean near Purushottamapuri is Apursa, or a spiritual object. It is material object, but discard it. If you accept it, oh Adbhut person, oh Adbhut speaker, if you accept it, you can't raise yourself to the next higher level. You cannot go to the higher level. So this is the explanation of Sayana, and that I see that is followed by the present day writers, and I have very often seen this in papers. Probably nobody knows how Nilakantha accepts it. But you see, Nilakantha was a trendsetter. Always he was making new paths. He was never after tradition. He was never believing tradition unless it is backed by logic. It is logical tradition, by reasoning. Nilakantha says, Sayana wrote it in 14th century. Lord Jagannath came to Puri in the 11th century by Pradogangade, and he was seated on the Kalinga Jinasana in Purushottam. But when was 10th mandala was written? It was written in 2500 BC. It was written in 2500 BC. So why not Jagannath in Puri? How would Sayana conceive Jagannath in Puri in 2500 BC? And for what you know, habit know that Nilakantha says that this mandala has been composed by Srinivesta Bharadwaj. And within bracket he writes Vadi and Odia. But this hypothesis is for you to solve. Here, any such hypothesis and with question mark. And better generation will solve it. And here also given to. Anyway, so Nilakantha says Jagannath was worshipped India and Odisha on sea route, and they inhabited the jungles of your Samudra, that region. And Savara, in Vedic era, anybody not following Veda was an Aryan. One who follows Veda is Aryan, one who doesn't follow Veda is an Aryan. So Savaras were Anaryans and they were addressed as Asura. And we are going to say that the famous Sambarasura might be a Asura of these Savaras. So, this Smruti Bharadwaj has composed this aiming at the Neewood log which was being worshipped on the bank of the Modernity river. So that log floating in the river water, and the Sumerians, they were the ancient tree worshippers, and which was inherited by the Savaras in Odisha. So it is for you to analyze whether Sayana is correct or Trivandrum is correct. Similarly, another funny incident I will tell you. Nilakantha has made many sarcastic remarks about Goensa. He said, the accounts given in the travelers of Goensa are never to be believed. They are all exaggerated and out of deep faith. If you are illogical, unreasonable, you go by faith, then you lose yourself. And you are, what is called it? Opinionized. So, that is the life. Matanta is the Matanta. In Goensa's account, it is mentioned that Goensa reports a gigantic Buddha in India, 90 feet high, something like in India. They were surprised how Goensa saw a huge image of Buddha in Odisha, but we people don't see it. So, Nilakantha says that tallest image of Buddha in Odisha is in gold, after which the name of the place is gold. Buddha, large size statue, the place is named after Buddha in gold. So that is maximum height 6 feet high. So where is that 90 feet high statue? So when he analyzed, it came to his mind that a 90 feet high statue of Buddha is there in Bamiyan, in the Swat Valley of Afghanistan. That Bamiyan Buddha, you, as students, might not have seen the picture, but my friends must have seen it in the paper. Of course, now it is no more there because it was vandalized by these Taliban from 20-25 years back. The Taliban, they demolished it by firing cannons and turning it into pieces. The Bamiyan Buddha, it was 90 feet high. I saw the photograph in the paper. So, then how Goensa concept that of Buddha in Odisha? Then you see the analysis. Swat is an Afghan word. The meaning of Swat in Sanskrit is Udyana. Swat is Udyana in Sanskrit, and Goensa confused Udyana and Udyana. So he didn't know the meaning of Udyana, so he confused and mentioned that it is Udyana. Then many more accounts of the given which is going to say a lot. So So these are the glimpses to tell you how analytical was he. I think I have explained time. So sorry, I don't want to take much of time. So before I conclude, I need to permit to quote another celebrated professor of Utkal University, Dr. Sinapchandra Das, philosophy, political science. So I have heard him speaking in the conference meeting of Pandit Nilakantha. So he stated that Mother Odisha was fortunate enough to have a song like Pandit Nilakantha, and Pandit Nilakantha was unfortunate enough to be born in Odisha. Anyway, but again, I thank the university, the philosophy department, the teachers, the student department for organizing this 2-day seminar at Pandit Nilakantha, and that too, choosing a very good theme. So really I am this theme, bridging tradition and modernity. It's a nice thing, and I hope that nice discussions on this topic, and I thank all of you for a pleasant listening to your words. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us these insightful and fascinating facts on Pandit Nilakantha Das. This will definitely help us for the discussions and deliberations that we are going to have over these 2 days of seminar.